it's not about the resource. It's about the things that are like the gifts I want to give to the world. About this probably with you for a week, but in short.
Yeah.
So abundance, right? I think there was a time in my life when I remember literally giving somebody my last $100 for a service, for some help. And in that moment, there was so much joy in my body that there was like, I actually found so much freedom in like what began a journey of actually going into debt. But I like came around, right? But in that moment of just like not having money, there was a joy there for me, and like just a surrender to it. And so for me, I needed to have that experience. That was a really important part in my journey with money. I grew up in poverty, by American standards. I mean, compared to most of the world, wasn't really poverty, but there have been moments of just the kind of tapping in or visualization as you describe it, right? Like kind of that game of, oh, just believe it sort of thing. But that to me is like just really ungrounded, and it might work for some people, right? I'm sure it does. But for other folks, I think that there can be like other paths and lessons that are available around this piece. And so at this time, having like gone through that experience and then coming through to like paying off the debt and becoming financially stable, like when I talk about big visions, like, yeah, I want to create, different things in the world that money would make it easier, certainly. So I'm calling in, more financial resource, but it's not about the resource. It's about the things that are like the gifts I want to give to the world. And so, and I love money. It's a beautiful energy to work with, but it's not about that at the end of the day. And I think that that's where a lot of confusion happens for people too. So what do you think on this one?
Well, I always reflect on my own experience, because I think that I'm not very unique. I think a lot of people will experience something similar at least. And I remember at one point I was putting it that when I have the money, I'll be able to. And at some point, it's probably from somebody who shared this with me or reflected it to me, I flipped it, that I get to do this and figure out everything else from there.
Yeah.
That the money that I was bringing in, I turned it into a game. I turned it into a game of how can I enable myself to give my gift, instead of just expecting that because I have a gift to give, the world is going to conspire for me to just do it easily. That was the latter is the story that I was holding on to for a long time. Can't the world just see that I have something powerful to give? Can't the world just conspire to support me? Why is the world, that whole story of why is it so hard?
It's a tricky victim story.
Oh, it's tricky because it's very it's sneaky, right? Yeah. It's not easy to say.
I relate. It's familiar. Yeah.
Totally. Like, why doesn't the world recognize how awesome I am and how special my gift is? But then flipping it around and saying, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands because I believe in my gift that much. I care about my gift that much. I want to illustrate my commitment to my purpose by my actions. Because if I'm not willing to commit to figuring this out, then how could I expect anybody else to? And it was like, as soon as I did that, it became another obstacle for me to find a solution for.
Right. And how creative did you get?
Oh man. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast episode, but not just creativity, but finding some of the fun and the joy in it again. Because otherwise it's such a burden. It's a slog. It's it's slaving away, and a lot of anxiety that I've experienced in the past, a lot of fear, a lot of what am I going to do, that didn't necessarily go away, but transformed into something else once I said, hey, this is just another game. This is the same game that I've been playing all along, except I'm going to choose how I play it.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So, and I get that that's not, I don't expect that anybody's just going to hear that and be like, oh, like magically transformed and suddenly get it. But I just really want to express that because it's genuinely how I felt. It's genuinely what I had to go through and what I've also seen so many other people go through. This is not just Jeddy's story. It's really I think it's a generational story for many of us, not all of us, but many of us who are doing exactly what you said, who are sitting here for the past year at home, probably laid off, probably on unemployment, seeing opportunities show up and asking ourselves, am I really going to take the leap now? Am I really going to do that thing I said I was always going to do? Am I really going to jump outside of my comfort zone and take on the kind of journey that Aria and Jeddy are talking about?